Welcome everybody to the Resilient Podcast. My name is Neil Tan and I'm your host today. So today we've got a great guest actually visiting inside of the InsurTech Insights, Marco Mirabella. Marco, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming in. And I know you have a really short window of time being visiting in Hong Kong, but maybe you can just kind of give a quick introduction about yourself. And
Perfect. Yeah, I'm originally Italian, but I've been living in Asia for the past 8 years. So ended up in Asia because I did a double degree between the Polytechnic of Milan and Tongji University in Shanghai. And after that, I got into China Accelerator and MOX, so in the VC space. And that's how I met Neil. So during the journey there. So stay there for like around 1 year, and then decided to start my own company in the blockchain space called Cartesi. So Cartesi was a layer 2 solution, essentially a solution that allows the underlying blockchain to increase the computational throughput and the transactional throughput. I stayed there for 2 years and a half. Eventually decided to leave, and then did 1 year as a chief strategy officer in a company that got invested by Mox called Bigo. This is the biggest price comparison website in Southeast Asia. And then after that, I was missing the speed and the exciting space of crypto, so I decided to jump back in, dive back in, and then started ENSURO around 3 years ago. That is the company I'm currently running.
Great. So maybe you can tell us about the latest venture, ENSURO. Like, what exactly does it do? And what sort of markets and clients and users does it serve?
Sure. So actually, ENSURO is a blockchain-based reinsurance company. And what it means is that we use crypto, in particular USDC, which is a stable coin pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar, in order to back up insurance products that our partners sell. So we leverage some of the components in the decentralized finance space. So like, for instance, liquidity pools or oracles. And we bridge the traditional world of insurance and the world of DeFi. So investors can connect their wallet, like MetaMask and Coinbase wallet or others, and then deploy USDC in this liquidity pool, and then earn interest rate that come from the insurance premium that the partners that the partners collect when selling the products to the final users.
I see. And then, so what? If you kind of look at that, what type of deals actually come through that platform? And then, let's say, what's a high yield, what's a low yield? Of course, there's different types of ranges in terms of those different premiums, right?
Yeah. So in the way that the protocol works, essentially, we use smart contracts for handling the end-to-end. So from capital collection to capital disbursement. So this has certain advantage in terms of reducing the operational cost. However, the set of application that we can do, it's restricted to some parametric insurance products. So a parametric insurance product is a product with a binary outcome, in the sense that it's either an event happens or doesn't happen. If the event happens, then the trigger is released and the payout is released as well. So this is the focus of ENSURO at the moment. And the products that we have are cancellation for any reason, which is that product when a user buy a ticket or an experience, allow them to cancel it and get a portion of the cost back.
Sure.
Or weather insurance. So let's say you have an activity outside, and then it depends on the weather. Essentially, I can hedge this risk by an insurance product that triggers in case there's rain that day. And but even crop insurance in Kenya. So we embed crop insurance. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So you can tie the performance of the crop based on weather conditions, and then they can have multiple triggers that essentially, if happen, there's a high correlation of low yield in the crop. So let's say there's a drought, or let's say there's too much rain, the yield of the crops is gonna get reduced quite significantly. So you can tie in an insurance product in that.
So how do you? If we kind of dial it back, and it's probably something that the insurance companies have to determine what the level of risk is, right? How do you know that premium or the people that are flooring the product and then the premium that's being paid out is actually accurate to the data set? So to your example, like the crops, and you know, is there somebody that actually goes into that specific area and says the chance of a flood in this area is X, Y, and, or whatever the number is, or you know, the chance of a drought based on this sort of seasonality is X percentage or whatever it is, and then the premium should be Y, right? How do you determine that that is an accurate assessment?
Yeah, that problem is in the insurance industry is called like a basis risk.
Yep.
So it's essentially like the mismatch between potential payout and the damage that the user had. So in the past, it was a pretty big problem in parametric insurance. Right now, it's getting more solved with the like IoT devices or the precision of satellite images. So the mismatch between the risk and the payout is getting like much smaller. So in the way that we do, we analyze like historical data. So like 20 years, 30 years of data in the case of weather, and then I'm trying to like match a correlation between what was the weather like in this particular season and what was the yield. So you can never be like super precise.
Mm.
However, that's like kind of the gap is it's shrinking
Right.
recently.
So it covers everything from like even let's say travel insurance, right? Or when you say weather insurance here in Hong Kong, if it's Typhoon 8 hits, then they get paid out. Like basically through the smart contract, automatically pay out, right?
Correct.
Right.
So actually, we did a product in US against hurricanes. So essentially, we can track the data of NOEA, which is the National Hurricane Center in the US, and then we can track the wind in a particular location and check whether a particular zip code is in the path of a hurricane. If it is, we did a certain radio, and then we release the payment immediately to the users.
So it's instant. I mean, that's
Instant.
what the whole idea of smart. There's no delay. There's no assessor
Yeah.
that comes out and says, well, you know, maybe we'll give you 50% or something like this. It's instantaneous.
Yeah. So like from a user perspective, it's like parametric insurance and like I mean the fact that you have like a smart contracts as a guarantee,
Right.
it's like a big benefit because it's all automated and you know before and what's gonna be the output.
Right. And so I mean, where do you see this type of technology or like basically changing the insurance industry? I mean, aside from the fact that you don't have to go and have an adjuster and you know that type of middleman interaction, what sort of new business models or business use cases do you see coming out of this?
Yeah, like I was during the conference here in Hong Kong, I was actually discussing a bunch of people about the concept of usage-based insurance. In the usage-based insurance, you have like you push to the extreme the concept of insurance and then like all the technical infrastructure underneath, because let's say like you enter in a Uber and then like the coverage just starts like during the time in the car. So as you can see here, like the premium it's variable depending on time, and it's a constant stream. So in a traditional like setup with traditional fiat currency and like without having automatization, that's something impossible.
Right.
Now you can think this on IoT devices. So you connect like insurance policies trigger on based on IoT devices. So which is another like interesting use case that I see, and the entire like market of micro insurance. So let's say like you want to sell a policy in sub-Saharan like part of Africa. So the premium like we're talking about like $1 or $2 over there with a lot of farmers. So having the ability to like sell like set up a program there and be profitable, it's almost impossible with a traditional technology. With blockchain, you can automate almost everything and reduce the cost of like managing like a program like much like drastically,
Right.
and be able to launch like new products there.
So it's almost like, you know, it's similar to like banking the bottom of the pyramid, but in an insurance way, right? So you're trying to provide financing or microfinance to those different companies. And now you're saying like we can insure those people in their, let's say, SME businesses. How would that work out? Because they don't have like legal entities or anything. There's no need for that, right? Essentially. Like, how would they get paid out, for example?
So in the particular case of the product in Kenya, So we work with a credit facility company in Nairobi. So essentially, they tied in the protection in the loan that they were giving out to the farmers, and these loans was used by farmers to buy seed and fertilizer. So they were going to the cooperative or the input provider. In general, they buy like seed and fertilizer, taking a loan. They plant the crops, and then when the crop it's harvested, then they pay back the loan.
Right.
So essentially, we tied in like the protection in this loan, and the protection was covering them in case of drought or excess of rain, and it was a seamless experience for them. Now the distribution, like by partnering up with the cooperatives, it's much easier than going directly to the final consumers.
Right.
Even though, like I mean, I believe in the future, that's where the industry is heading to, because we're seeing like for instance on USDC, like they recently did a partnership with a local company in Kenya, where they allow people to convert the USDC into Nigerian naira in seconds.
Wow.
So you're gonna like use a smart contracts, pay like someone like directly to the local wallet in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So I think that's we're gonna see this like across multiple markets.
Multiple industries. Do you see a specific industry particularly benefiting from this, or a certain sector that benefits more than others?
I believe like I mean the microinsurance space, so like farming, like it's gonna be like quite impacted by this. However, you can expand the horizon to other products. So for instance, like micro coverages for like cars or scooters in emerging markets, or like we're trying to do a product in Ecuador for drivers. So like,
Drivers,
yeah,
like just for when they drive a car or the actual car itself.
so
You're not doing
the
automotive insurance, you're insuring the actual driver, so it doesn't matter which car they drive, kind of thing.
so yeah, like in food drivers. So that's
Okay, I
like
got it.
so they essentially we tied in like an insurance product like that they can purchase by the day, and then it's something that when like we can distribute like to them and have almost seamless experience.
Right.
So you can think about this model like in multiple markets, and this ability to do like very small coverages. I think
Sure.
it gets interesting.
How do you, I think that's like a really interesting use case. Is like, how do you, of course, every industry has some sort of bad actors, if you will, right? And, in this kind of situation, how do you prevent fraud from happening?
So I mean, fraud happens like it's almost impossible to avoid them completely.
Sure.
However, the in the structure of the policies we have, we tend to do policies that are very short in duration. So we can track more or less like the performance, and the benefits of the blockchain is that we have all the real time analytics coming to us. So if we see that there's like a mistrend in the source of data, we can spot if there's something like bad is happening, and then we can make the corrective action immediately. So I mean, we take advantage of the real time data,
Right.
but the human nature it's something that it's difficult to adjust. So we just mitigate this problem.
You just, right. Okay. So, I mean, ultimately, you got distribution, you got the claims, you got the fraud situation. I mean, how do you ensure that the platform's secure?
Yeah, like so in the like we developed the platform using smart contracts on top of a public blockchain. So and then like the platform went through different security audits from external like auditing company that went and checked whether or not like there was a possibility of hack. Then as part one of the things that I forgot to mention is that ENSURO is a licensed company in Bermuda. So we are a licensed reinsurance company, and then we also have a digital asset license.
That's super important, right? I mean,
Is
right.
so it's
Super important.
so these two licenses essentially they allow us to act as a reinsurance company using crypto as a solvency capital. Now the Bermuda Monetary Authority, which is the authority that regulates us, it's imposed a certain set of procedures in terms of security. So we need to have like different type of like a penetration testing of the protocol, different type of like procedures and testing like on throughout the year. So, like being a regulated entity, like can give certain like degrees of guarantees in terms of the
Sure.
securities.
Did you have to have like two different license? Like, did you have to get a crypto license and insure like a reinsurance license, or are they like combined into the same license?
So we got two licenses
Two
in
separate
Bermuda. Yeah.
licenses. Right, right, right.
So actually, like we have a digital asset license, and then we have an insurance general business license under the Bermuda monetary framework. And so, and there was also like the reason why we decided to go in Bermuda.
Yep.
So Bermuda is the number 3 reinsurance market in the world.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think like most of the insurance linked security transactions are coming from there, and most of the like insurance and reinsurance company have an office in Bermuda. But also like there's been like recently a trend of like the country pushing like innovation on the digital asset sector, and a testament of this has been the Coinbase, like
Okay.
deciding to set up an office in Bermuda and get a license there. So the entire derivative business of Coinbase is actually run from the
All right, right,
Bermuda
right,
the Bermuda office.
right. So yeah, you guys should be working with them then.
Is a,
That's like
is
a next phase, I would say. So yeah, kind of switching gears. I mean, if you kind of look at your own personal journey, I mean, you've gone through a whole bunch of different things. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey through, Mox and also the previous startup as well. What's been your experience as a entrepreneur, as a venture capitalist also prior to that, right? I mean, you were an investor before, and then you kind of switched sides. So, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's I mean, like right after the university, I got into an internship with a Chan Accelerator, which is this accelerator group under the like a venture capital fund in called SOSV. So jumped there and then was essentially doing like all sort of works with companies. Eventually, I got full time in this accelerator and working as an analyst. So helping the companies like with different type of problems that an entrepreneur have in a daily life. So like helping them like checking the documents, like investment documents, or like reviewing the deck that they were doing, or like potentially like facilitating like introduction with clients. However, working there, it's what I realized is that like it's very different to give advice when you're
Mm.
on the other side of the. Like, actually, it's very easy to give advice when you're on the other side of the table because
Will's gonna watch this,
it's
so just watch.
it's
Will Balbine is gonna watch this. They're like, oh, this guy. No, I'm kidding.
so it's I wanted to actually like experience like the entire journey in like on a first hand, potentially even going back to the venture capital like world after that,
Right.
after like having like a direct experience in running a company and being like touching firsthand what it means.
Right.
So I started like so with a colleague of mine and a group of friends from Brazil. So they were university professors from the Institute of Pure and Applied Mathematics in Rio de Janeiro. So we started this like layer 2 solution. It was very deep like tech in the blockchain space. So and we went through like all the bear market and the bull market and all the
Wow.
different type of side. So
How long was that? That was for like 3 years,
so I did around 2 year and a half
two and a half
there.
years. Yeah, right.
So we started when the market was in, like booming in 2017.
Yeah,
So everyone was trying to decentralize everything,
yeah, yeah.
and then like the crypto winter came in.
Right.
So then crypto like suddenly became a scam for in the eyes of everyone. So moving that transition has been yeah quite a journey. But yeah, what I learned from there is it's just to set the horizon long term. So you can like ride the trends. Nobody knows
Mm.
where the market is gonna go. So you just like need to stick to the fundamentals. Eventually, I decided to leave the company because I was like doing business development for Cartesi, but the product was taking quite some time to be developed.
So it wasn't actually launched at that point, or you were beating something, you were selling something that wasn't actually
Yeah,
ready for sale, right?
correct.
So you're like, hey, let's say Walmart, I've got this great product, but then you actually never built it already,
Yeah, like
right?
so
Type of
it's
thing.
it was
Right.
like like it's an extremely complicated product that right now is getting released on mainnet.
Still has not been released.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so there's been 6 years of work
Wow.
of around 60 people like in the technical team.
60.
60.
Wow.
They
Where
were
did they
like
get the funding for that? I mean, to ride for 6 years without a product.
so it was like a launching a token in.
Oh, I see. I see. So
So
they did an
then
ICO.
yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
then went to Binance and like Coinbase and all
Sure.
the different exchange. So that one like managed to extend some of the like the horizon of the company.
Yeah, the runway is
However,
extended. Right.
yeah, over there is a bit of a mismatch on the ICO culture
Mm,
as a whole because I mean you need to have like very committed and very like solid people in order to stick in the company for a very long time.
right.
Because in the ICO you can essentially get like a very large amount of capital in a very short period of time.
Right.
And when the token unlocks, the incentive like to be in the company gets reduced. So you really need to believe in the product that you're doing.
Right.
So we've seen like in from 2017 to now, like a lot of the company that did the ICO like shut down or the
Mm,
funders like had money. So that one was I think it's some merit there. I moved to the to price comparison website, so switched directly like industry. So I was in an e-commerce website, acting as a chief strategy officer, and yeah, over there we were comparing different websites uh, for allowing people to find the best price.
but what sort of product? Insurance products or
No, the one was like
just a general
e-commerce.
e-commerce,
Yeah.
any type of product you could compare? Right. Right. Got it.
So it's the biggest price comparison website in Taiwan.
Yep.
And during my time there, we expanded to 8 different countries.
Mm,
So we covered the entire Southeast Asia market, and also started to enter in the Latam market. So
mm,
over there, there's a quite a big sensibility for pricing,
right.
and so over there was interesting, like switching like the field, but the speed, like in which the market
Wasn't fast enough for
wasn't
you?
fast enough. If you get it in
Again?
crypto,
What happened, man?
so it's
You're just like, into Formula One kind of thing.
yeah, like it's a once you get into crypto, like
Right.
it's a daily like
Yeah, by the minute is
by
like
the minute it's a change.
that.
So like you get like addicted to adrenaline somehow. So I decided to start something in of mine again and like start Insure around 3 years ago. So I put together like different people like from the different experiences I had. So my high school classmate, that he was like studying mathematics at the University of Oxford, like
Okay.
taking a
Right.
PhD there, like an ex entrepreneur like from Mox, so from the Chan Accelerator and Mox family, decided to convince him actually to leave the company. It was pretty stable.
Leave his startup or
Leave
leave?
his startup, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So the company was pretty stable on his side, so no sign of kind of uptake or going down. So I decided to outsource the management and then jump in Insure because I was excited about the kind of the philosophy behind the company. And then like throughout the journey, we also found a CFO based in Bermuda that found out about us and decided to be part of the journey with us. So it's
Right.
a 30
So
years
he
of
found you, not you found him.
correct.
Right. Okay.
So we posted a news there about our intention to get a license in Bermuda,
Oh,
and
I
then he reached
see.
out to us on LinkedIn.
Right.
He said like I really like what you guys are doing. I believe there's like a lot of potential in this, so I want to be part of the journey. So
Very
he
cool.
came on board as a CFO.
Right. Right. Very cool. So I mean, yeah, I guess a couple things is like, how do you, inside of the space, a lot of people are just going inside to go for like the quick buck. I mean, you were talking a little bit about the ICO and, retention and things like that. So how do you attract, how do you retain people when there isn't that sort of financial incentive per se? Because it's a long tail type event,
Mm.
right? Because you're trying to build a business that takes a while to get traction and so forth. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, like so one of the let's say luck of like of us is that we started the company around the bear market.
Mm.
So it's easier to find like people that are really committed in the journey.
Have
So
no
it's
other options now.
so it's like be like completely transparent. However, like it's in the interview phase and like in the selection phase, like you can spot people that are committed to the philosophy of the company. So, and they really believe in the impact that the company can make, and then kind of like the environment that you can create as a company. So if you make like a nice environment and you stick to the philosophy and the goal of the company, you can attract people that are pretty talented. And then like in the journey, we hire like a majority of our people from Argentina. So
Oh, you did. That's right.
all the technical people are, and like right now, like even
How did that happen? I mean, that's
so
kind of
the
interesting. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't hear like when we talk about tech teams, we like, oh, in China and there's folks in Vietnam and India, of course, and but I never hear like, hey, let's build a team in Argentina, right? It's,
yeah, like
their hours must be like crazy, right? You got to I got to talk to the dev team at like 3 a.m. or
yeah,
something like that.
that's a kind of the drawback. Like it is generally like a sleep at design, but it's but it's yeah, the CTO is from Buenos Aires, so he came in Taiwan to participate in the MOX program, and then kind of we stay like connected throughout the time, and then like eventually decided to jump in ENSURO. But Argentina is a great place for hiring talent. So the university are like one of the best in Latam.
Right.
So the entire Latam countries, like people from Latam, go in Argentina to study because the university is subsidized by the government, so it's free. So you
Right.
have like people from Venezuela, Colombia, like Chile, like they go and study in Buenos Aires, where there's a large concentration of universities. And then people like the economy there is pretty bad. So you have
It's
people that are really
pretty hungry.
resilient and
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah, very resilient and hungry.
Yeah.
like literally.
Yeah, that one is like
It's
they
tough.
have.
It's not easy, right?
It's a very tough market. So you have various. So people do like it's normal to do 2 or 3 jobs in Argentina.
Right.
So you can find like people like that are very strong there, and then they have like a good computer science like education. On top of that is the market in Argentina. It's like since there's a huge inflation, so it was recently around more than 200% inflation.
That's right.
So people use crypto like in their everyday life.
Right.
So you can think of like 20-30% like a price fluctuation in Bitcoin
Right.
is a lot for people in stable economies.
Yeah.
Like if you compare it to the Argentinian pesos, is nothing.
Right.
So people adopt crypto and they use it in their everyday life and they see the impact of it.
So it's like any crypto is a store of value there,
Yeah.
not just Bitcoin.
Yeah. So it's like almost like I mean the majority of transaction happen in stablecoin.
Yep.
So and then through DeFi, people can invest into like financial products, and it was unheard of. So people in Argentina don't trust banks. So
Right, okay.
because in the past, like during a financial crisis, the president of that country sees the US dollars of the citizen and give them pesos instead.
Oh, I see.
So
like basically mandatory conversion.
yeah.
Right.
So he stole money from the entire population, and since then people store money under the pillows on the mattress.
Wow.
So now as you can see, because there's no because of the inflation and because the lack of trust in the banking, then you don't have lending markets. You don't have super developed stock market and all the surrounding financial infrastructure. And that's where crypto can come and fill the gap. So you have stable coins that allow them to have money in US dollar, and then you have DeFi protocols that allow them to lend their money and do a bunch of other things and earn interest.
Right, right.
So that's a market that I like quite a lot, and a lot of the talents are coming from there from ENSURO.
Yeah. I went there ages ago. I mean, there's a lot of Italians. That's why you kind of fit in pretty well there. But yeah. So I think as far as talent is concerned, I mean, basically it's global. It doesn't have to be. You're based out of Taiwan. It could be inside of China. It could be elsewhere, right? It's just a matter of where the fit is in terms of the teams and the people that you work with, right?
Yeah, no, I think like I mean, even in the future, you're gonna have like global teams more and more, so it's getting much more easy. And the only pain is the probably phone calls like during night. However, it's the like the cost of organizing like people, it's lowering down significantly.
Mm,
So probably like COVID was a catalyst in this. So you have like a project management tool. So you have like Discord, that is a tool that we use to chat. So Zoom, Google Meet, so you can coordinate quite a lot. And if you have people that are committed, you give them like macro like task,
right,
and then like when you wake up in the morning, and you know that like things are
right,
gonna be done like in Argentina and the other way around.
right. So when you guys put out like new products and things, like let's say you go from travel insurance to weather insurance to crop insurance, is like how do you adjust or customize inside of those different products?
Yeah.
And yeah,
So at the end, is like on a parametric insurance product, it's they all kind of look the same.
yeah,
From so you have a particular trigger, and then you have like a payout associated with that, and a premium associated with that. So it's a matter of analyzing the entire data in order to like estimate like a probability of losses. So once you have the probability of losses, then and you have the payout, so you then have the pure premium. It's essentially like the minimum amount of funds that an insurance needs to have to cover the expected losses.
mm,
So on average, those money are going to be paid out to the users. And then like you then add a certain component of solvency capital. So insurance needs to have more funds to cover the unexpected losses.
right,
So we calculate that based on industry standard, with the difference that the solvency capital in our end is in USDC, in liquidity pools. So then you compose all these different prices, and then you end up with a final pricing.
right. I got it.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, you basically have sort of like a built-in buffers, if you will, right? So just kind of get the premiums right. How do how do the how do the incumbent insurers view you and the platform like Insuro?
so they're interested in space, however, like scared of innovation in general. So we've seen in the across all the financial markets, insurance is always the one like that always kind of lags behind. So we've seen like in development in banks like that in the past year has been like quite drastic, and the insurance still like it's trying to catch up on that. So when we try to explain our product, there's a bit of reluctancy.
Mm,
Some groups are starting to change, so they see the benefits of the technology, and they understand that they need to switch, like and at least understand the technology. However, something that we do with the insurer is that we figure out like a legal structure that allow us to connect directly with the distributor of the product. So we take advantage of like a legal structure called segregated account company in Bermuda,
okay.
and these allow us to create captives. That is a self-insurance like structure. So and then we notice, like I noticed on like in the macro insurance rank, that it's much more easy to transfer first-party risk than to transfer third-party risk. So
Mm,
the regulation are much more loose in a way.
right.
So we transfer the first-party risk in a captive, and then we reinsure it.
I see.
So in that way, we have like a sort of independence in the entire value chain.
Mm,
So we don't need to rely a lot on traditional insurance companies.
right. Are there instances where you partner with traditional insurers?
So we recently launched a product with Revo. Revo is a public listed company in Italy under the Italian Stock Exchange, so the Milan Stock Exchange. In the case they like decided to partner with us because the operational efficiencies of the product. There is a weather insurance product, so it covers small and medium enterprises from lack of revenue due to weather, due to adverse weather. So came to us, and like we work with them like quite a lot of months in order to integrate their existing infrastructure with the smart contract. And right now the product is live.
Wow. How
So
yeah. How long did that take to kind of put together?
so in terms of technical infrastructure, like not
Super
not
quick,
more
right?
than yeah,
Yeah.
like a couple of weeks.
But the deal
The
itself.
deal itself has been like painful. So I mean, like being a, like a public listed company, they need to go
Yeah,
through like a series of
sure.
processes. So it takes time to kind of go throughout all the stakeholders and launch a product.
Right.
But now it's so generally as every industry, like once someone like did that's the first step, then the other follow. So after that, we've seen more interest from traditional carriers.
Yeah. What sort of advice do you have, like, for other startups and fintechs to working with incumbents? Like, do you have any key learnings or any tips that you would recommend to any of the other startup founders? Like, how do you work with a traditional bank or a traditional insurer or other?
So like they in the B2B world in general, even more so in the financial like markets, people like tend to work with companies that they believe they can stay like for a long time, they can
Sure.
survive for a long time. So you need to have like in like the mindset of the long term.
Mm,
So like there's a lot of risk like the companies like the people inside companies like need to have when partnering with a startup. So and it gets reduced over time, like when they see you around and when they see you active like in products. So this is, I think, is the first advice that I give, and then following them like across, trying to find a champion in the company.
right.
So identify a person that in the company can vet you and then can promote you inside the stakeholders. So it's something that has been like very very useful.
Right, right. And then it's a lot of education inside of it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but like if you have a champion in the company and like kind of let's say like is interested in crypto or like understand like the really like the goal of your company, then like if like that person teaches inside the organization, the power of user or word are gonna be like much more strong.
Mm,
So you need to support the champion in order to do the work of evangelizing the company inside.
right. Yeah. So I think quite a bit of, I mean, obviously you had a lot of time in these two different startups that you've done, right? I mean, and a lot of key learnings in how to do penetration inside of these bigger accounts and stuff. Where do you see the insurance company go? I mean, where do you see this plant, Insuro, and the platform, and basically this whole insurance space being impacted by this type of technology? What do you see are like top three, top five trends that are going to be going for the next 5 years?
So like in the insurance market in general, what I'm seeing it's the brokers and the managing general agents. There are the parties in the insurance value chain that have a distribution network and then the ability to price a certain risk. They are slowly like understanding that they need to rely less and less on traditional carriers. So there's a different like a mindset and a different speed. So I'm seeing a trend of them setting up like carriers themselves. So we've seen some example in Europe and some example in the US, and I think like it's gonna come here in Asia as well. So generally, if you have a broker or an MGA business, then you tend to make your revenues like only on commissions, so you don't have a lot of the upside there. Whereas if you set up your own like insurance carrier, then you get like the upside on the underwriting profits as well. So we're seeing like a huge trend on that. Parametric is another like uh, field that I think it's gonna.
Just continue to grow, right? It's like all the different use cases are expanding beyond.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so you have like a much more data. Yeah, like even like some application of AI that it's allows you to analyze this data. And I satellite like I mean SpaceX was a catalyst in this in all the so the cost of like launching satellite in orbit has been decreased by a couple of order of magnitude almost. So right now there's a huge development of like satellite images and satellite driven data. So the basis risk is shrinking quite a lot. So that's another trend that I'm seeing. And then like eventually the users based insurance. So where you have like micro policies that you can activate on the go.
Right.
So let's say you rent a car and like once you like rent a car, they get a coverage connected with that. Or like you go in the airport and you get like a pop up in the message that knows that you're in the airport. You can insure your flight.
Mhm.
So all this type of coverage like that push to the user whenever they need it most.
Right. So it's basically usage based.
Yep.
It's you go on a hike, they see you on the GPS, you're at the top of the at the start of the hiking trail, and they're like, here's a here's a hiking insurance or something like
Yeah,
this.
I
Right?
think like
Yeah.
it's a kind of like we have like that amount of data, just that the infrastructure of the traditional insurance company, it's well like behind like for
Right.
handling this type of use cases.
Right.
So there's been like there's a need for switching like infrastructure and like a need for new players to come in the space and take advantage of this.
Right. Do you see what I mean? How do you strike the balance between giving a fantastic you know user experience, right, or versus like person's privacy or the personal data that you have to use to give that experience?
Yeah, like it is. I mean, like I think like the blockchain comes in play like here.
Yeah.
So you have like essentially like with use cases like on like the leverage of blockchain technology, you have the ability to analyze data on the device of the user, like without and then like having like security that the data is not gonna leak out. So like I see like more and more application on that, or even like application of zero knowledge. So essentially, like you can analyze the data without actually seeing the
Sure.
data. So there's been like some use cases over there.
Are you actually actively using ZK inside of your solution?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So it's something like right now, like the analysis of the data is done by our partners.
Okay.
So they're the one that like do the risk modeling, and then we support them with that. But we're seeing like trends of this like happening in the future.
So the intersection, particularly inside of insurance, doesn't matter. It's specifically on your platform, but it's definitely in terms of, let's say, identity or digital identity and all those different things. Getting ZK inside of the insurers is actually happening quite extensively.
Yep. So I mean, not yet. Like we're seeing like people are talking about it in the industry, and I think it's a trend like that we're gonna see like soon.
Right. Cool. Thanks a lot, Marco, for coming in. It was great to have a chat and appreciate the time. I know you got a tight schedule, so you got to head out to the airport now, but really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Cool.